$568,762 in total sales last year. Finishing up, I just joined Legacy and the Nomads here. Super excited to be part of this team. I got a lot of experience. 70% of my closes last year were all virtual. So if you need help with that, I got you. Super excited to work with Danny again and Trey and just really be part of this team. Finishing up some, this month's been slow for me. Been finishing up some projects at one of my former companies and getting rid of all of that baggage, if you will. And so looking forward to kicking off March and just blowing it up, team. This is the opportunity right here. Right here, fire, right here today. Get gassed up, team. This is going to be a good time. If you don't have an energy drink, get one because we're going to get started.
Right, let's go. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Liz, if you could introduce yourself, about 45 seconds or so.
Good morning, everybody. I'm new to this. I'm here to learn as much as I can. And to be honest, I have no experience. I have no knowledge. That's why I'm here, because I want to learn from all of you guys and just excited to be part of the team.
Good stuff. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Autumn, if you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey guys, I'm Autumn and I'm super excited. Oh, just one sec. Cool guys. Sorry, there was some echo. Anyway, yeah, I'm Autumn. I'm 22 years old and I started solar about 7 or 8 months ago in July. And it's just been such an awesome experience. So I'm excited to be here and help y'all get started in your guys' solar journey.
Thank you. Thank you. And Eric, Mr. Moreno, how's it going, brother? If you could introduce yourself real quick.
What's up, guys? I'm Eric Moreno. Super new to this.
You sound like a little bit robotic, but it might be your headphones that you got in.
Oh, okay.
But we did hear you're super new to this.
Yeah, so I'm super new to this. I just started door knocking last week. And the reason why I started doing solar is just I feel a burning desire inside of myself to make more money and be more successful than I have been so far. And yeah, I'm excited to get started.
Oh yeah, man, good stuff. Yeah, we all caught that for sure. That was good, brother. Tanner, the man, the myth, the legend, bro. If you could quickly introduce yourself and tell us real quickly.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm 19. I'm Tanner. I'm from a small town on the Oregon coast. Been in solar for about maybe 3 months now. Just closed my first deal the other day. And man, I'm still just trying to get every piece of knowledge I can and just adding everything to that, adding everything to my little tool, my tool belt.
Heck yeah, man. Good stuff. Appreciate you, brother. EJ, real quick, brother. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? My name is EJ. I'm from Bend, Oregon. I'm 19. I've been doing this just for like 2 months now. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and get as much info as I can so I can start selling as soon as possible.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate that, brother. Always showing up, always being consistent. Much love to that. Jen Smith, how's it going?
It's going. It's cold, but it's going good. I was with Apricot with John and Autumn actually in their Ape Academy. Autumn's way farther than me, and bones to her because she's amazing, and I learned so much from her in Phoenix. I'm continuing that journey. I want control of my own destiny. I worked for the man for the last million years that I've been working, and this is definitely the opportunity to get, and I'm just here to get all the bones and do what I can. And despite the craziness going on in Texas right now, it's whack, but it's all good. I'm just ready for more.
Heck yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Jen. Mr. Ryan. Hey, really quick side note, you guys are going to get to know and love Ryan, but just really quickly, everyone give a round of applause. The man got engaged last night, and so you guys are going to get to know Ryan. You'll be his best friend, and he will be your best friend as well. But congratulations to Ryan on getting engaged, brother.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, so pretty much I've been following Danny in the solar for probably a year now. And so I'm a full-time firefighter. I have my own detailing business, car detailing. And I kind of like would, for the last year, peek my head in, peek my head out. And I was like, man, I want to do this. I just don't know when to jump. So I just been watching them for about a year now and just like, I'm ready to soak it all in. So that's why I'm here, ready to show up every single day and learn as much as I can.
Oh yeah, man. Well, thank you again, brother. Thank you. And
Yeah.
Ryan's over in New Orleans, Louisiana, gonna be selling remotely. He's got a little one, a newborn that was just born over in November, and so he is a busy man, busy man. Over to you, Heather. Good morning. How are you?
Sorry, Ernesto just messed up my audio. Good morning. I'm Heather Rose. I just turned 28. I'm from New Orleans. We are the Heather Ernesto duo. So like we're gonna be a teammate. He's downstairs. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I'm new to solar. So excited. Been consuming some information this whole time and ready to rock and roll.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Jordan, my man. How you living, brother? Just real quickly, Jordan just got onboarded probably like 2 days ago. Already finished his sun run training. Already watched all the videos. He said he's got them on repeat, and the man is hungry for success. Much love, much respect to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Jordan, Jordan McAvoy. I was actually introduced to Danny maybe about like 6 months ago through a very trusted person within my network. Once this person said, hey, take a look at Danny, what he's got rocking and rolling. That's all I needed. So long story short here, I want to dominate the virtual space, kind of like my man Rick Perez over there, bro. We might have to get on a phone call here after this, but I'm in central Pennsylvania. Just putting it out there so everybody can hold me accountable. I want to make 150K for the rest of the year. So whatever we got to do, jumping jacks, push-ups, whatever it is, let's get it done.
That's hunger right there. That's respect, man. Good stuff, brother. Mr. Mark Eaton. How's it going, brother? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. What's up, guys? I'm also doing the virtual thing. I live here in Chicago, Illinois. Although we do have solar in Illinois, we are not allowed to go door to door. So I have to do everything virtual. Was down in Phoenix. It just had an awesome time. Learned a lot of great nuggets from Danny and Autumn and the other leaders that were down there. And I'm going to call Jen out. She can't say that it's cold there because we're getting 8 more inches of snow here and it's about 16 degrees. So Texas is not cold. Yeah. I'm just saying.
No, actually, it's colder here today, and we're getting more tomorrow.
It's colder here today, Mark. We got you, buddy. And we're on
damn.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But traditionally, Illinois is a lot more colder than Texas. I feel you, Mark.
Yes, agreed.
Mr. Paul, how you living, brother?
Doing all right. Kind of in weird circumstances at the moment, but hoping to get a first sale this week and talk to multiple people. But yeah, DFW area, and I'm still half asleep, so I can't think of anything else at the moment.
Well, yeah, hell yeah, brother. Thanks for joining us, man. Mr. Mark Shanks, the man. How you living?
Good, man. What about you?
Blessed.
So, basically, man, I just want to make 100K without having to knock a single door. I want to do it virtually. I just see that as a challenge. Like, I go out, knock doors. Not saying I'll be able to do it, like, but with the accent, man, people are going to speak to me and invite me in. I've seen it. I don't want to knock doors. I want to do it through. I want to do it Instagram, Facebook ads, making calls, whatever I can from home. So my goal is just to make 100K from my house.
It's definitely doable, man. You're in the right space at the right time. I know one thing that's for sure is that timing is everything. And the bone goes to the dog who wants it the most. And so much respect to you as being innovative as well. So much love to that. Mr. Felipe, how you living, brother?
Doing good, guys. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We sure can, man.
Yeah, man. Just excited to start with you guys. There's always opportunity to grow, to learn.
Always.
You stop learning. you're pretty much dead. So yeah, just very excited to be part of this platform. I know I'm around some really talented and skilled, people in the industry. So blessed to reconnect and be part of this.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Humility is everything. The man has sold a lot of solar and he's still in here willing to learn. I respect that, brother. And so, Mr. Dustin, you with us, man?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Just getting started here in the solar industry. I've been knocking doors since I was 16, slanging roofs for over 20 years. So I'm a sales manager and top producer at a company right now here in Dallas. So that's still kind of my bread and butter. It's hard for me to walk away, but I definitely am just intrigued and fascinated with this new solar opportunity. So I had another sit here Saturday, 2 days ago, and it was really good. It was a one-legger kind of. Her son was kind of a decision maker, and then she's already texted me this morning about batteries and keeping the power on, because I've never experienced this, but we're rolling blackouts. My furnace isn't working. It's 55 degrees in my house right now. It's freezing. So I'll probably be shutting my camera off and conserving power, but I'm happy to be here and learn from you guys. I was in Arizona with y'all a couple of weeks ago and learned from each and every one of you, just from rebuttals to closing techniques to door stuff and I don't know, everything, man. So I'm just super pumped to be part of the squad, but I'll be dropping some deals here. I just haven't been super focused on it, but I'll get you.
100%. Thanks for sharing, brother. Stay warm. Amanda, how you living, girl?
Hey there. I'm good. I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and call myself out. If I wasn't tardy to class, then I would know exactly what question everybody is answering right now. It sounds like you guys are maybe talking about your goals, what we're trying to get out of the class. Try to follow along here. So don't be late, guys. Don't follow suit of me. No, but really I'm excited to be here. When we started in solar with another company less than a year ago, it was right when the pandemic hit. We were face to face with a lot of people in our community. My husband, you guys know Justin, he's a firefighter here locally. So he's face to face with people all the time. We're involved in the Little League, the school, the PTA. So that was really what we were counting on, right? Face to face, really not having to go door to door, like Mark said, and then we were forced to pivot. So now I'm really just trying to take everything I can on virtual sales from the experts, Danny, Autumn, Trey. You guys know I'm related to Trey. So even in times, we're close, but it was hard for me to shadow Trey at first. So yeah, I'm really just trying to, get everything I can from the experts. And, the goal of getting into solar was to just be able to live freely, really. Justin has a really flexible schedule being in the fire service, and we want to be able to optimize our family time together, essentially. Memories with your family, vacations, this and that. That's what that's how you grow your roots and your family values. And we're really big on family. So that's really just to optimize our time together and his days off. And still having, multiple sources of income. That's key there. So
good.
Really happy to be, here with you guys and excited to learn from the goats.
Yes, indeed. Well, and then last but not least, we got Mr. Daniel Santa Ana. Are you with us, brother?
Yes, I am, sir. How you doing?
Blessed and highly favored. Thank you.
Sorry. Good. I'm sorry. I missed the cutout. I didn't get, I don't have good service where I'm at. I'm tapped into the Wi-Fi. What was the question? Is everyone just checking in? I apologize.
Just
I wasn't getting volume.
45 seconds. Just to introduce yourself, kind of where you're at, where you're going.
For sure. I'm Daniel Santa Ana. Started last month. I'm family friends with Amanda and Justin and all them, and they kind of brought me on, took me under their wing, made the trip out to Arizona. Really just trying to take this and run with it. I've always worked with people. I've worked within restaurants, and I've done a different kind of networking before. So this has been actually surprisingly an easy transition to take it and run with it.
Good stuff, man. Thanks for sharing, brother. And so with that being said, we are now locked arms as a team. When one fails, we all fail. But at the end of the day, everyone has to pull their own weight. Everyone's got to do their own learning. Everyone's got to do the own investing of their time. This course, this education, if you just YouTube it, people will ask you to pay $3,900, $5,000, $10,000 just to get this education. Potentially this may cost one thing. And so since we're handing this out for free, all that we ask from you is to invest yourself, invest your time. And ultimately, if you do plan on doing this and wanting to get paid from this as a full-time opportunity, you got to put in full-time hours. And what does that look like? Traditionally in America, I guess it's at least 40 hours a week. And so if you're doing that, you can expect solar to pay you like it's a full-time job. But with a lot of this entrepreneurship and this 1099 stuff, some people will put in that they'll take too much time freedom to themselves and will only put in 5-10 hours a week. And then we're wondering why they're only getting one deal a month. Or maybe even less. And so at the end of the day, just remember, if you want to treat it seriously and want to get paid seriously, you're going to have to invest your time seriously into it. And with that being said, we are going to get into today's presentation. So I'm going to get this going for y'all. Remember, this is going to be shared with, this is the Nomad Solar University. You guys should have finished your Sunrun training by now. That's going to cover all the basics of south is the best placing, is like a south facing roof. It's the best place for the panels. What's an inverter? All the basics of solar, the things that you got to know. It's a lot of homeowners won't ask these questions, but you should at least know some of this information. And moving forward, then we will be rocking and rolling. So day one, we're not really going to cover too much of the basics, but we are going to talk about what solar is, what it's doing, where it's going, etc. And so if you have any questions along the way, feel free to just drop them in the chat and we will get this show underway. So we've taken this already. We've introduced ourselves. So let's get into the bulk of the material. And then so where we stand at now is why solar and why now, right? So solar had its first big bang like early 2000s. It made sense for sure for a lot of people. But you know what they required back then? Was a massive down payment. And so everybody, including the middle-aged men and women who are out there looking at their finances, they're working a 9-to-5 job, they're busy doing their lives. And then the only thing that they learned, or one of the only things, is return of investment. Is this a smart financial decision, etc.? And so a lot of people are like, when am I going to see my return of investment on this solar project? That's a pretty standard, really understanding question. I totally get that. However, because solar has changed recently, homeowners now pay $0 out of pocket to go solar, in which there is no ROI. The ROI is instantaneously on their first month's bill, because what they're doing is now shifting that electric bill over to a home improvement project. So a lot's changed in solar. With President Biden now in office, he seems to have an entire platform built on green energy, climate change. And so, like I said, right time, right place. Down in Louisiana, I've got a lot of friends who went to LSU for petroleum engineering. And I've got a lot of friends hitting me up now saying, hey, what's up? What's good with this solar stuff? My oil job is actually going out of business. And so with that being said, moving forward, what's coming this week is we're going to make sure, and these are definitely things to know, is to know your specific market. If you live in Pennsylvania, you should know the Pennsylvania market. If you live in Florida, you should know the Florida market. If you want to sell in California, then learn the California market. Every utility is different. Every market is different, and the cost of goods, cost of permitting, etc., are going to be very similar, but also very different at the same time. So we're going to talk about how to prepare before your appointment, what to expect going into the home. As Autumn has always said from one of her favorite books, The Art of War, one of the favorite quotes is to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And so it's extremely important, if you know that you're going to go into the home and probably deal with the same objections you would, whether you're selling cars, whether you're selling whatever you're doing, it's the same comments from the same customers. And therefore, when you really dial into this opportunity, when you really take a look at what we're covering, and then you actually go into your own appointment, or you start watching some of these virtual appointments that some of the leadership are running and others, you'll be like, what? He asked the same question that the other homeowner asked. And it's going to be literally the exact same thing. And then at one point, whether it's 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to be like, dude, this is no brainer. This is so insanely simple. I can't believe that every homeowner is going to say the same 5 things, have the same 5 questions. And then literally you're just like deconstructing a math problem like we did in algebra back in the day. Oh, it seems like this is disconnected. He doesn't get that, or she doesn't get this. So part 3, we're going to identify the customer's needs. We're going to talk about what the customer's needs are. Some people may need one program. Some people may need another program. We'll talk about this week. We'll learn how to present the A/B option, which we'll actually touch on today, which is that, hey, you're either going solar or you're keeping what you have. And if you keep with what you have, we'll see where that problem lies here in a little bit. And then part 5, we're actually going to talk about the takeaway, because the whole thing about solar sales and where most people go wrong is they think that sales is some pressure closing, hard closing, Grant Cardone savagery, where we have to make them sign and grab their hand and write it on the paper and get them excited. And that's just literally the opposite, at least from how I sell solar, is because I don't have the panels. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we're sitting here over the computer. I'm not sitting outside your front door with the panels. We're not going solar today. We can't. Even if you wanted to, you can't. And so talk about taking the pressure away and becoming more of an advisor versus the used car salesman. Hey, and used car sales need to be sold too, but just understanding that. And then you'll learn part 6, which is when to stop selling and when to start closing. There's a huge difference between the two. Selling is not closing and closing is not selling. You need to understand how to present and then how to transition to closing and what the difference is. Everyone can easily probably sell solar, but what unfortunately or fortunately is when you get this skill set developed, you'll start to learn how to close and actually get that customer to move forward. And a quick analogy would be, for example, let's say a guy, you're a car salesman, a guy comes on the lot, he wants to buy a car and he's like, ooh, I like that one. At some point, you're going to be like, okay, well, let's start the paperwork. Oh, well, you see what had happened was, well, yeah, I'm just interested in a car. I'm not going to, I mean, and so like, yeah, at some point you're going to be like, okay, well, let's like that. The closing is the paperwork. Even in real estate, they call it closing. We're going into closing, which means like you're actually doing the paperwork. And then and this is my opinion, but how to step 7, the last step, is how to build true rapport as a professional after they've closed and signed the documents, and then how to set up yourself for the next steps. And so really quick, any questions on what to expect this upcoming week? Any comments or anything before we get into some more stuff? Anything so far? Perfect. Let's get into it. I love it. And so let's dive in right now. What is the truth about the nomad culture? It says, promote yourself through action. Leaders promote themselves. Leaders will never ask to be promoted. Ultimately, just like the captain of the football team, the captain of the cheerleading team, they're not anointed. This is not a monarch where you're born into something. You promote yourself through action here within the Nomads. We're serious about you if you're serious about yourself. Effective March 1st, if you don't help one homeowner go solar every month, you'll end up into a review stage. If you fail to improve over the next 30 days, you'll be terminated. Consider this a blessing more than anything, because like I said, ultimately, if you joined a gym and you didn't show up, I would hope that they would ultimately cancel my membership so that I'm not wasting my time. And if you're trying to head 15 different directions in life, you're ultimately going to end up going nowhere and running in circles. So consider it a blessing and a focused attention. Number 3, and it's highlighted for a reason, leads are earned through consistency and through showing up. And your skill set is ultimately what's going to divide everything for you. And then number 4 is become a resource and become resourceful, full of resources. In other words, don't ask simple questions if you haven't tried to find the answer yet. I've got a great friend and mentor called Google who will answer all of your questions. And then Legacy Support Center is there. Like people like Trey and Autumn and a lot of the people even on this call are extremely busy. And so if you haven't tried to become resourceful, or you say, hold on, I'm going to pause because I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just going to take a break and then go for a run and then go focus on this business and that business. And then ultimately you end up pausing yourself. And so just become resourceful. Everything's already there. And if you do not have a resource to use, obviously we're all here to answer questions, but just try and become resourceful as well. And then number 5, I would highly recommend doing this. I had a mentor in the past do this with me, and it absolutely changed my life. Is to, if you're doing solar month to month, you will ultimately like really end up actually failing long-term and or becoming highly inefficient. Is to get with me before this university ends, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the upcoming weeks. Is to just try and form a 24-month business plan. Give yourself 2 years to become an expert at this. If I just hopped in on a basketball court at my local gym and I just said, dang it, you know, like all these guys, they're dribbling, they're shooting, I'm not even making shots. And some of them, they're telling me this and that. And it's like ultimately like, okay, well, if I can take the strategy of, hey, I'm going to give it 24 months for me to get really good at basketball, take 24 months for me to get more knowledgeable, for it to put action in, and then reverse engineer those 24 months and never quit on myself and really understand that it's going to take time. They say it takes 10,000 hours to truly master something. And so really take that into consideration. I mean, 10,000 hours, let me do a really quick math. 10,000 hours, let's say we put in 5 hours a day. Is divided by 5 is 2,000 days, which is divided by 365, which is 5.5 years if you're only putting in 5 hours a day. So really think about that. Is 5.5 years from now, you should be a master in solar, unless you decide that you can do things in compressed time frames, which is certainly possible by any means. And then last but not least, don't get focused. This is probably the biggest one in my eyes. Is don't get focused on solar knowledge. Is learn yourself and learn to audit your time and look at your habits. A very good friend of mine and much closer, we're growing very close, is Daniel Santana. He taught me about a book that I definitely need to read, but he's given me the synopsis of one of the big lessons in the book is, hey, if you want to get good at, it's called Atomic Habits, the book is. And so I would highly recommend reading it, but it says, hey, if you want to get good at solar and like you want to become successful in business, don't learn solar. And it's almost backwards to the way that most of us think about things. Don't learn solar at all. I mean, like that's the homework that you do on the side, is learn what successful business people do. Don't worry about what business. Look at what they do. Look at how they treat themselves. Look at their habits. Look at the way they value their time and their family and everything in between. We all have LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, President Biden. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. Some people make it more effective than others, but we're all equal playing field in terms of time. And so audit your time and your habits. And then the last one is very interesting. If you're not getting paid in solar, own it. Like, please own it. Oh, I've been in solar for 60 days, Danny. Hadn't made $1. Cool. Hey, I've been in solar for 7 months, Danny. Not making the money I want to. Cool. Own it. Solar's not the problem. Promise you. Your habits and your skill set and the way that you audit your 24 hours in a day, the way that you wake up, the way that you go to bed, the way that you plan your calendar out for the week, that's what needs to be audited. Any questions or comments on that right there? Because that's some gas that I wish people could be honest with me back in the day, but unfortunately, I had to find a lot of things out back in the day on my own time. And it's one thing to learn from your own mistakes, but the best and most efficient people will learn from other people's mistakes. It's how you ultimately compress time frames. So thank you, Daniel Santa Anna, for sharing that with me. That is a huge nugget. But any comments before we get rolling? Excellent. Good stuff. And so back to the basics, solar 101. So this is why I get so excited about solar. And one of the reasons that I really dive so hard into solar is because I recognize, and I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I recognize that there's literally, it's like that. Imagine we're in the 1860s and they've got the gold rush going on in California. Imagine we all live in New York and we hear about the gold rush. We hear about what's happening in solar, and we hear about what's happening in this gold rush. And that, hey man, I'm going out west. Autumn, you want to join me? Hey Jen, you want to join me? Ryan, Eric, y'all want to join me? And then some people will say, hey, you know, man, I'm just busy with my job. I got this going on. I got that going on. And plus, I mean, like, what if we get out there and all the gold's it's already gone? What if we get out there? What if we don't even get out there? What happens if we get out there and it doesn't work out? Or like what? And it's like all these different excuses that we tell ourselves. And the same thing that I look at with solar is that ultimately I can't, and I would be an asshole in my head because I understand how popular solar is and is going to be. It's not like I'm not telling nobody about this. I'm gonna go sell all the houses myself. It's like, it's impossible. Like I can't do that. I would never do that. So, which is why I really love sharing the opportunity and then letting other people know my experience and hopefully I can help and provide value in some way. But it's ultimately, that's why if I've ever reached out to you or if somebody reaches out to you, it's because they realize, hey, there's like freaking 30 million houses, 50 million houses, 100 million houses, 200 million houses in the United States. No way I could sell all of those. And so what I get excited about in solar is how many people in the United States have an electricity bill? And it's a really good question. And so I'm like, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I'm like, well, Danny, everyone's got a bill, right? And so here's another thing. How many people have an electricity bill that's getting bigger? And then now it's like, well, let's say I live in Louisiana. My bills are getting bigger. Let's say I live in Texas. Hey, are your bills getting smaller? Or are they getting bigger? Live in Nevada, live in California. Are your bills getting bigger? Or are they getting smaller? And I think most people, especially on this call, would agree all of our bills are going to keep getting bigger. But is that a problem? Is that a nationwide societal problem? Yes. It would be very similar to if everyone was riding horses and then something came out that allowed them to not only invest into something that they can keep, but invest into something that's more efficient and more sustainable. So solar is, I guess, potentially back in the day, used to be an opinion. And now it's a cold, hard fact that you cannot debate. There's a transitioning coming, and those who take advantage of it, I guess the same thing would be like cryptocurrency. The transition's happening. Those who look into it and know it have a much better chance of succeeding and understanding the system. And then those who say, oh, solar, I'm not putting them ugly panels on my roof. And then ultimately, where are they going to be left at when net metering changes, when the utility changes and the tax credit goes away, and now they're going to have to pay more to go solar rather than saving money and locking in a good rate. So keep that in mind. So everyone in the United States has an electricity bill that's getting bigger. And so keep this in mind. We have what they want, and they already know what they have. So one of my favorite things, I use this in every solar sale ever. If you've been in solar for a minute, if you're brand new to solar, think about this concept, because I literally draw this out for the homeowner every single time. And if you listen to the videos that I dropped the other day, I talk about micro closes. And what I consider micro closes is I'll get more into it tomorrow with sales psychology, but it's essentially just getting them to agree with every single statement that I say, every single statement. I already know the answer to it, etc. But what they have versus what they want. There's two options. This is what I was talking about earlier with the two A, B options. There's A, there's B. If they say, it's like a math equation. If they say no to A, then they have to get B. If they say no to B, then they have to keep A. A is the utility company, B is solar. Let's look at the options. And this is where I'm going to ask for some input. Anybody can speak up. But what benefit, as you guys could think of, and I'm not here to just dog the utility, but what benefits do you get from the utility company? What is y'all's favorite thing about the utility company? If you can think of something, unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. If you were a utility company salesperson, what would you say is so awesome about the utility company? Is there anything that you guys can think of?
I was going to say the utility company actually helps us because of how horrible they are to change people to go to solar.
Say that one more time.
I was going to say how horrible the utility company is. It's like they're selling solar themselves, so it makes our job easier.
Yeah, touche. Yeah, I mean, they definitely make the job much easier. In fact, one of my first leaders in solar told me the best way to sell solar is, quite frankly, excuse my French, is get the hell out of the way, because solar, quote unquote, as anybody looks into it, they'll say solar sells itself. And so if I do this with homeowners, I draw a T chart on paper, and then I say, okay, so just to kind of go over some of the benefits from the utility. And what I'll typically do over here on this left-hand side is put their monthly summer bill or whatever their big bill is, $480, $215, and I'll put it over here. And then I'll make them acknowledge, hey, do you think it's going to go down or do you think it'll go up? And then everyone always is going to say, well, I think it's going to go up. Duh, Danny. And I'm like, cool. And quite frankly, I don't know if you know this, Mr. Homer, but the only thing that you get from the utility company is another bill next month. Did somebody speak up?
Yeah, I was going to say the only benefit that you actually really get from the utility is that, you hit the switch and light comes on.
That's what I was gonna say. That's my favorite thing is that my lights come on, but nothing else really.
I always think, that's like a good benefit to have, right? You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So when you transition to solar, this is the thing. What if I give you the same thing, but then you have every else that follows along?
Exactly.
So that's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're not gonna change that, right? After you talk to me, you're still going to turn on the light and you're going to reap the benefits. So make sure that they know that no matter what decision they make, they're still going to go to the switch. They're still going to turn on the light and light's going to be there.
Well said. Definitely well said. And so, and then some of the benefits of what I say, clean energy, and then I always write in parentheses solar. And then there's probably 100 different things that either the homeowner could say or that I could say. And then I actually do literally make this list. And if there's any other, I have down here, what else? But I say renewable clean energy, obviously it comes from the sun. And so it'll be here forever. It's sustainable. It's predictable. It's most of the time it's cost efficient. It's an investment opportunity for a home improvement project. It's security versus being reliant just on the power company. There's a lot of local incentives, utility incentives. There's a federal tax credit, state tax credits, and then there's also other benefits. I'm sure we could go on and on, but this is just a simple diagram. I always call this, and I call it, it's part of my presentation, but it's the T-chart close, where I essentially just visually show them this and just make it very simple. Look, it's one or the other, A or B. Either way, like Felipe said, you got to flip the light switch on unless you're Amish. And so either way, you've got an A or B option. If you ignore A, then you got to get B. And if you ignore B, you got to keep A. So psychologically, I see this as one of the main things to point out with the customer. And this is essentially how I, in a very quick nutshell, part of the presentation alone. And so this is over in California with PG&E. This was in year 2016. There was a 16% increase on top of a 12% increase on top of another 12% increase. And so the bigger the increase, the bigger the problem, the bigger the story that you can explain with the homeowner. And so where I see this as beneficial, this is actually from PG&E's website. This was in the year 2008. Look at their utility rate. It's about 16 cents per kilowatt hour on average. And then we're going to jump over to 2020, just last year, which has actually gone up several times since then. And we're already almost 50% higher than we were just in a couple years. And so, boom, we're already at essentially 26 cents, and the rates keep going up and up and up. Now the average is somewhere around 28 to 29 cents. And so we've almost gone up 100% since then. And so this is another main point that I talk about in just simply approaching solar as a 101 thing to a homeowner. And this is a very unique, and I do it quite just about every single time with the homeowner, especially if they ever get hung up on the money, is what is inflation and how is it affecting solar? And then inflation, by definition, is inflation is a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money. What is our money? It's the United States dollar. So I actually studied financial advising at LSU. I only took one class and I ended up not graduating from LSU. But ultimately, I did learn a lot from that class. I did study finance there. But in a nutshell, I mean, simply the most general approach is, hey, things are going to get more expensive and the value of the dollar will decrease. It's just what happens. And so really quickly, I get into it. I said, how is inflation currently affecting our country and future electricity prices? And I don't show this to homeowners, but I do tell them this story. And this is when I'm looking at their eyes across the table or through the camera. I'm not doing a slideshow for this, but I'm explaining to them that, hey, in 2008, when we had the bailout and we printed hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars, same thing in 2020. Hey, everybody gets a check. Hey, check your mailbox. You get another check, a stimulus check. And this is there to help provide relief. But at the same time, I always say this to people that don't really understand inflation and how it's what's happening in our economy. But I said, hey, let's say Tom Brady, he just won the Super Bowl. He signs a football for you, and then he throws it to you in the stand, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my dream. This is going to be worth so much money one day. And then you wake up the next day, breaking news: Tom Brady stayed up all night drinking coffee and signing footballs. He signed 315,000 footballs last night. Boom. Now your football is no longer worth as much money because there's so much out there. And so as we continue to print dollars, as we continue to print and give away stimulus checks, basically what's happening is everything in our country is getting a little bit more expensive, including electricity prices. And so quick story time. And I say this exact same story every single time I talk to a homeowner about solar. Every single time, literally every single time. If you go watch the videos I've recorded and posted in the WhatsApp channel, you'll hear this story every single time. It says, I say, hey, Mr. Homeowner. So my dad actually turned 19. He turned 64 this year. And so he was born in 1956. So I gave him this little pamphlet and it said, hey, this is a look back to 1956, Dad. And on that little brochure I gave him, it was a birthday card, but it talked about the cost of goods. It was like a time of reflection back when he was 1956, when he was born. 64 now. And the average yearly salary for an American was $4,450. The average brand new house, and I mean brand new, off the lot, supreme, absolutely beautiful house, was $11,700. The average rent was $88. The average utility bill was $7 a month. And then you can look at a new car cost $2,000. The average cost of gallon for gas was 22 cents. Average price of ground coffee was about 85 cents. And, you know, we're only talking about 65 years later, just literally one generation later. And let's look at the price of what happened recently. Oh, look, let's look. Current looking to California in 2021. Things are a lot different. The average yearly salary is now $31,960. Maybe they're making way more money. Maybe they're making 7 times as much. Oh, but let's look at this. The average cost of a new home in California in a subdivision is around $700,000. The average monthly rent was not $88. It's $1,900. The average cost of a gallon has gone up almost 3,000%. And now we are at $3.47. A new car with financing cost is about $40,000. This is a $1,000 or 1,000% increase from where it was before, just in 65 years. And then the average utility bill is about $148 per month, which again is over 2,000% increase. So if we're going to look at things historically, what do you think is going to happen to your bill? Is it going to keep going up? Or is it going to keep going down? And obviously the homeowners, especially as you paint this picture, whether they're young, whether they're old, whether you talk about this is the way it used to be for your parents, etc., it's the same thing. It's everything's getting more expensive. And so obviously we know with solar, it's going to hop in and basically lock their rate in. It'll give them consistency. It'll give them an opportunity to budget. They'll know exactly what they're going to pay month to month, year to year. They know what to expect, not to mention, and I do touch on this, is, hey, all you're doing with solar is turning a liability, a financial liability, AKA something you're going to pay forever, right? Are you ever not going to pay your power bill? And then you're turning it into an asset, which anybody that's smart, especially the homeowners that know their stuff and know their finances, they have good credit, they're going to know what an asset and a liability is. An asset is owning a car, for example, versus a liability is something like taking a taxi to work every single day. And it's like, you're never going to own that taxi. All you do is shell the money out. And you never get anything in return. And Mr. Homeowner, you would agree that ownership is always better, right? Well, of course. Yeah, you own your house already, right? You're not why aren't you renting? Oh, because you wanted to own something. Exactly. And that's exactly why we're having this conversation. And so anyways, with that, we're just going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break. Let's just go ahead and grab a coffee, go to the bathroom, and we'll get reconvened in exactly 5 minutes from now. So 12:25, so 10:25, 5 minutes from now. We'll catch y'all soon.
One thing, and I know you did this as well, which is kind of cool. You did it on one of your videos that I watched over the weekend, is you break out your calculator and show them, hey, listen, your bill's $200 a month. You're going to spend, or $250 a month, spend $3,000 a year. I like to say, you know what? I don't have my phone on me. Kind of like you do the whole I don't have my phone on me thing, or it's over there, or it's in my bag. Hey, can you pull out your calculator real quick? What's 250 you said times 12? Oh, it's 3,000. Oh, do you realize you're spending $3,000 a year? Have them do the discovery of the pain. And that really solidifies them and their understanding of what you're talking about. $200 a month doesn't sound like a lot. $2,400 a year sounds like a vacation somewhere. And something I always say when they say that, and I know you do as well, is there anything else you'd like to spend that $3,000 on? Like, what would you rather do? Disneyland sound good to you today, or something like that? You just try to really, in the first 10 minutes or so, really press home that pain by having them with their own calculator discover it, and it really does go a long ways.
Well said, brother. Well said. Amanda, any takeaways?
Actually, I just want to piggyback off of what Rick said. Daniel and I are working on a presentation that he's working on right now, and kind of same thing. Customer was like, she thought she was gonna pay $100,000 for a system. I mean, so right away we're kind of like, damn, how big is her system? She wanted to pay 150 payment. I mean, so she had a target. What is going on? She had a target payment here of 150 a month. Anyway, so we couldn't get to 150, but I just I kind of coached Daniel into it, like, hey, let's get her to reiterate that $100,000 and how crazy that sounds. And then kind of be like, hey, so if I could get you to about 50, 60,000, would that be cool? You know what I mean? Because we still can't get to that 150. But then when she sees we're going to be lower than 50,000 and maybe $170 payment, she's already thinking 100,000 is insane. So when she sees 50 and then 175 payment, it doesn't sound as crazy. So really have them set the stage for what exactly the pain, like Rick said, have them set the stage in their head and then offer them something better and just blow them out of the water.
Exactly. Well said, y'all. Well said. And so moving forward into things, just really talk about what is 100% offset, which most of us know what that is, but and why is that the target? And my whole point of actually introducing this is something that I've learned within the last 6, 7, 8 months is really talking about, yeah, obviously getting rid of their entire bill is phenomenal, but oftentimes in several of the deals I've worked already, is the 50% offset, which you'd be surprised at how many different people we can actually, if the customer is asking for it, and how much, as long as they're truly understanding on what they're getting, how that can benefit them, because ultimately in loans, most people shy away from the big number. And what I've found is that personally, a lot of people, if for some reason solar is relatively new to them, they'll actually be totally fine with 50%, and or a lot of sometimes solar advisors will sell themselves against the fact that, like, because of shading, because of roof space, like getting rid of 50% of your bill and creating at least half of that bill into an asset is a huge win. And a lot of the times, for one reason or another, we'll either try and cram as many panels in, and then site survey comes back and no way they could fit everything. Thank you for that. And so it's just really understand that even if it's it's absolutely insane, but even 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% is a win. And ultimately letting the customer know that they're in full control. Oh, you only want to pay $22 a month for solar? Perfect. Let's see if we can get it down to that. And then cool. So yeah, and I've done it with homeowners before, but I can't tell you how many times I've helped homeowners where they couldn't get 100%, or they wanted to just, for no reason whatsoever. Us as solar advisors, we know 100% offset is like getting rid of 100% of the bill is the best idea. But if under all circumstances given, sometimes it's not possible. And so the point there was just to be able to identify that moving forward, is that anytime you can get rid of. But we'll get into this here soon, probably tomorrow. But it's the 7 things that every customer wants to know, pretty much. Is this, like, every single time you guys meet with a homeowner, every time I meet with the homeowner is going to want to know, what exactly am I getting? What does it cost? How's it going to be different from what it is now? Hey, Danny, what happens if the power goes out? Which is like what we call net energy metering. And then, hey, do you know what happens, Danny? Have you thought about what happens if it breaks? And what's the sense of urgency? Why should I do it now, or should I do it in 10 years? And then why should I trust you or your company? And essentially, the simplification of sales psychology, which I'll get into tomorrow, is just, if you have a well-designed story, presentation, and response to all 7 of these questions, and you're actually able to essentially pre-frame and to box these people in by knowing specific answers and or bringing them up. This is the same thing. And anybody who's sold solar, really anybody who's been in sales before, if I'm buying a car, I want to know, what exactly am I getting? What's the final cost? What's the bottom line? How's it different from what I'm driving now? What happens if it breaks? Do I have a warranty? Why should I do it right now? And usually that's a self decision. And then why should I trust you or your dealership, essentially? And so that's just a very quick explanation as to how simple solar can really be. And once we get into objection handling and other things moving forward, then we'll be like able to lock people in. And so Trey actually asked me to share this with you guys. And so I'm going to bring this up real quick. And let's see. So can you guys see that? Should be able to, but it says, this Trey sent this to me. He said spot electricity prices on Texas electric grid spiked more than 10,000%. Bad weather, generator outages, price per megawatt is surge is 1,100 per megawatt. And so essentially what he was saying, this was actually sent out today, and it's basically to anyone living in the Dallas area. Apparently there's a lot of power outages, a lot of power problems. As you guys may or may not know, America's infrastructure for their electricity, we've got all these different cool things, but we're still using wires and all these different things. It's during hurricane season when Louisiana, Texas, Florida gets exposed for their grid. Like I look at it, I'm like, dude, like we live in such an advanced society, but like without these electric lines on our street and on the side of the roads, and like we're screwed. I mean, like everything in our society runs on these, not even government agencies that run these utilities. They're private utility companies that own this. They've essentially monopolized our ability to use power, and that runs all businesses. It's a really like I guess there's a pun, but a power move by them is by these companies. And so whether you live in Texas or Florida or California with the fire outages and the power outages, like we will continuously identify these big problems about power outages, hurricanes, fires, and when we're without power, that's instantly becomes our number one priority. So I always mention and always tell homeowners and people just like yourselves to always be on offense, always be proactive rather than reactive. And then because everyone wishes they had solar and generators and power once they don't have it. And then it's just the easiest thing to push under the rug whenever they do have it, because it's just there. If we've been indoctrinated to believe that this is always going to be this way, it's always going to be readily available to us. And so it's just something to highly consider moving forward, because every homeowner is going to be able to kind of like, they're going to want solar at some point. They're either going to be forced to go solar with no incentives, no benefits, no problems, or they're just going to essentially get the first mover's advantage and go now. And so this is an example of a proposal I did the other day. And just to kind of show you, this is over in California, where things are much sexier for solar in terms of just the absolute quote unquote no brainer. I was helping a customer who had an average current electric bill of $134 a month. And if I did slide that over, it would actually end up being about $169 to $170. And then just to kind of put that into perspective, so he's got to spend $134 a month for sure. Whether if he's flipping light switches on, like Felipe says, he's got to spend this money. And so at 101% offset, his solar payment, meaning like when 100%, it means he'll never get an electric bill again as long as he uses the exact same amount of electricity. So as soon as he gets rid of that bill, his new solar payment, because he gets his energy from the sun, is only $85. It seems absolutely like a no-brainer. And so it's just something to put into perspective, knowing that that you have to choose either A, 134, or B, $85. One, you're going to keep paying this bill that gets bigger and bigger forever, or this bill that allows you to own your own power, pay yourself, increase your property value, etc. And so, like I said, I'm not going to go too far into the solar 101 stuff, but literally, if you stay with your electric company, look at what your cost would be, or if you switch to solar, look at what the benefit would be. It's a no-brainer. I'm not even going to really spend time on this, but it's exact same amount of electricity, if not more, with solar. And then, so A or B, if you had to choose, which one would you rather spend? The answer is obvious. And really, regardless of what state you live in, the answer is obvious. And so moving forward with Legacy, they are working on an absolutely insane industry leading leads platform. And so I put up here, leads plus skills is always going to equal sales. And so how to earn your spot with Legacy for company generated leads. Here's kind of what a potential outlook would come around. A huge list of prospects could only turn into a few sales on the calendar, so just keep in mind. Let's just say you got 2 leads per day, 6 days per week, which is 12 homeowners that want to go solar a week. And then 12 per week, 4 weeks out of the month, that's potential 48 homeowners that you just met. And let's pretend like, God forbid, you were only able to help 1 out of 5 of those actually get panels on the roof, which is 20%. I'm going to go back real quick just to kind of emphasize something. So if you can get 1 out of 5 homeowners to actually make the decision to spend less with solar instead of this bill that gets bigger and bigger forever, who thinks out of here that we could actually, if you presented 5 homeowners with the opportunity to say, hey, you want to pay this bill that's going to get bigger forever and ever, and it's going to keep getting bigger, or do you want to own your power for $85 a month and actually take ownership and do a home improvement project? If you had to choose, Mr. Homeowner, which one would you choose? If you were able to help 1, not 4 out of 5 or 1 out of 5, but we're talking 1 out of 5. You tell 1 out of 5 homeowners, then ultimately you'll be left at $35,000 per month in terms of income. And so just to put that into perspective, these are very conservative numbers, and this is the benefit to leads. And so just to kind of put this into perspective, when we say legacy pays, legacy pays. It says build a skill set to get referrals and self-generate your own business. Small, consistent activities compound for insane results. Essentially, 1 lead, it should be lead per day. So let's just say you went out either self-generating your business, you did your own marketing, you went door knocking, you just got 1 lead per day, 6 days per week. Now you're going to be at 6 homeowners per week. 6 homeowners per week times 4 weeks is 24 potential homeowners per month. Let's say you only were able to help 1 out of 5. Some of this math is a little incorrect, but let's just say 24 homeowners, you help 1 out of 5. That's essentially 5 installs. And then, so that would be times a $7,000 commission because there's no marketing budget or no overhead built in. So just getting 5 installs a month, only helping 5 homeowners a month with an average commission of say $7,000 in California would produce you $35,000 in monthly income. And to me, quite frankly, these are very lazy numbers. If you're full-time into fitness, if you're full-time into a career, this should be bottom of the barrel. You should really be like, this is as low as you should really go. Obviously, 1 install a month, you're getting $7,000 a month. You're living a very healthy lifestyle. That's not bad living. It's $84,000 a year. But ultimately, I don't think we're doing solar to get to work as little as that. So anyways, moving forward with that, just to kind of put this into perspective, this is a timeline in my head. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with some of the minute details, but literally, if you can master these 15 steps, and like I'll send this out as soon as we get off, but it's literally as simple as we can make it. First, here's like, I'm going to draw a quick story out. First, you sit down with the other homeowner, whether you're on virtual or whether you're in person, and whether it's your aunt or whether it's a stranger. You're going to sit down, identify the annual cost of the electricity, take a look at the property, see if he needs a new roof, any upgrades, etc. You're going to discover the customer's needs and then know the direction of the consultation. Going to do the credit check beforehand and make sure that the customer is pre-qualified. You'll generate a savings report either through Solo or Sunrun, which are 2 platforms. And this is very 101 stuff. And I don't expect you guys to memorize this, but this is just simply how it is. So you get their utility bill, you run a savings report, which we'll teach at a later date. The initial paperwork is signed just to get the install partner involved, where you do a site survey, you lock in the bank rates, the interest rates, etc. Then you do a second appointment. If there are any changes after site survey, you go able to go over that then. Then you get your final system design finished. You go off to permits. You have your installation day. Then the company and the city will come inspect it. You'll get permission to operate. Then you do your follow-up visit. You say congratulations, etc. Then you do a 1-year visit a year later, and you're able to follow up every single month, every couple months, and just make sure that the homeowner is continuously happy with their decision. But literally, solar is not rocket science. I'm going to send that everything we went over today. And today is literally just a very elementary, very 101. Some of you guys may already know this. However, solar simplified is, and we'll get into some meat and bones tomorrow as far as the sales psychology and what would prevent somebody, because it seems upfront like, what the heck? This is probably the easiest thing I've ever done. But it is a big decision for homeowners. And so it ultimately, people are going to end up buying time because of uncertainty and their inability to make a good decision. And so people are basically going to have to make this decision one way or another. So in my eyes, it's our job as advisors to simplify the sales process. And when things are simple, it's an easy decision. And then when it's an easy decision, you take action. If things are complex and you bring up every little A to Z thing because you're the know-it-all guy or girl and you know everything about everything, then ultimately the homeowner will shake their head. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's how that. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I gotta talk to my wife before I make a decision, and like all these different things that'll come up of reasons to buy more time because they don't want to tell you that that all buyers are liars. They're never going to tell you what the real reason is that they're not taking action today. So I love simplifying it, bringing it to the meat and bones, A or B, 1, 2, 3, simplify solar. And if you listen to any of my pre-recorded calls with homeowners, you'll be like, dude, this guy is talking to this person like they're in 8th grade. And then like, it's literally 101 stuff. People make the decision. They're micro commitments that you need along the way. But anyways, other than that, I'm not going to keep you guys too much longer. Does anyone have any questions along those lines? Seem good to go. Like I said, I'm going to post this recording to YouTube if you want to record it, or actually watch it on YouTube, watch it a few times, write a few different notes down. I'm going to be sending out the slides as well. And then Autumn, if you have anything to add, feel free to take things away.
I'm all good, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the class, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow.
Sounds good. And then other than that, you guys have at it. Enjoy the rest of your day today. Take action. Literally every one of your family members, every one of your friends, every one of your neighbors, everyone that you can meet on Facebook, they're counting on you. They're going to go solar with somebody for sure. And if they don't know that you work with a solar company or they don't know of the problem solution that's available, then you're ultimately going to end up they're going to go solar with somebody else. And that somebody else, they may take advantage of them. They may explain it wrong, sell them on a deal, and then kind of leave them high and dry. So it's your job, whether it's your family, friends, anybody. This is not a network marketing company where you're selling them on Melaleuca. God, I love their products, but it's this is a real world problem solution, and this is something that's really going to actually change their life. And as times in the economy gets a little bit more rough and things get tighter, at the end of the day, this $2,400, like Rick says, that could be make it or break it. There are certain families where I've gone into their house. They live in a trailer park, and they're $4,500 a year on power. Like that's a big problem. People, it's not the sexiest, most fun stuff to talk about, but this is life changing. And you guys have the ability to secure people's investments, to build their property value, and to make sure that they save money every month. Do not get it twisted. This is gonna make a difference, and things are going to change very quickly. So other than that, God bless you guys and enjoy your day.
Thank you for your time, Danny. We all appreciate you.
Bye, Danny.
Thank you. We do.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
100%. Always. God bless y'all.
All right, see you guys tomorrow.